Welcome back to Indiana Diecast Racing and the continuing action of the Final Fantasy Fracas. Today we've got groups 77 and 78. Kicking us off today from the Great White North and White Knuckle Motoring, MF, I hope that doesn't mean what I think it means, is driving Flow, a 53-gram riveted. Next up, wait a minute, I'm getting some late breaking news. Bolo Brown was supposed to be the second driver in this group. He has sent his car back to the garage for some repairs and will have to race in a later group. Much to the chagrin of the rest of the group, Numbskull will be taking his spot in Slinky, an Arachnarod weighing 61 grams. The next driver is new but in an IDR-built machine. Sethocles from Beard Oil Motorsports is at the wheel of Crash in Bronze, a Roger Dodger, a casting I thought we'd have a bunch of, weighing in at 56 grams. Lastly, it's the best of both worlds with Bay City Daryl driving for Rust Belt Diecast Racing in a muscle and blown called Wabam, weighing 50 grams. MF and Numbskull start up front, Sethocles and Daryl in the back. Bay City Daryl slow out of that P4 spot, and Numbskull is surprisingly slow as well. MF and Sethocles lead the group into Echo Base. Sethocles rolls! Numbskull gets caught up in the wreck and he's not going to find a way around. MF wins lap 1 uncontested on what is a triple DNF. Daryl has apparently also rolled and stopped in the S. Sethocles seemed to have been doing everything right. Maybe that rollover is indicative as to why no one else said to Roger Dodger. Massively poor luck for Numbskull, who brings in a donut not of his own accord. WKM solidly on top after 1. Sethocles will get a chance at immediate redemption from the pole on lap 2. He gets a great start, followed by Daryl through turn 2, and MF spins! Numbskull mired in the back as they race around the Savage Square. Lap 2 is Sethocles, Bay City Daryl, MF, and Numbskull. MF's lead is cut in half, now 2 points ahead of Sethocles. Bay City assumes the pole, fellow underdog Numbskull, that feels weird to say, behind him on the inside lane. It's a tight pack heading into turn 2, Daryl now out front. MF spins, challenging Seth. Sethocles nearly wrecks, attempting to pass Daryl. MF dives inside and takes the win! Daryl is second, Sethocles third, and Numbskull fourth. That was insane, and still, everyone managed to reach the finish line. MF started P4, and driving from that position, exiting turn 2, he's able to pass and nearly wreck Numbskull in Echo Base, guesses the correct line to get around a floundering Sethocles in the square, then seizes an opportunity when Daryl leaves the inside lane of the final turn wide open. MF goes back up to a 4-point lead and will only need to finish lap 4 to advance. He's essentially out of the race, but Numbskull leads from the pole on lap 4. Numbskull edges ahead, and MF will follow him through turn 2. Daryl leads Sethocles, but Seth nearly completes an aggressive pass attempt. Numbskull and MF in trouble. Ooh, multiple collisions! And only Bay City Daryl is going to roll away from this one, taking a timely lap victory to ensure his spot in round 2. Sethocles was in the back and he wasn't having it, nearly coming away with the pass and narrowly avoiding a wreck. Numbskull and MF get tangled up and Daryl literally snowplows the pair out of the way. MF and Bay City Daryl tie for the group victory. On to Group 78, Wolfie Wolfgang returns for Funky Mother Chicken Racing in Sheriff Sharif, a 58-gram Flame Runner. Another entry from Rust Belt Diecast, Simba is taking a break from the Pride Lands to drive Pride Rock, a 48-gram Forward Force, or what used to be. And driving an IDR-built donation car, Numbskull is at the helm of a 35-gram Arkham Knight Batmobile called Goldwing. In the last of 9 entries for Uncle Elvis Racing, Beastman is driving Panther, a 70-gram perfect speeder. The wolf and the lion up front, the bat and the beast in the back. All animal themed here in Group 78. It's a close start, but the outside lane of Simba and Beastman gain the advantage. They whip through the middle section. Simba wrecks on the back straight. Beastman takes the win. Wolfie Wolfgang is second and Numbskull is third. What can I say? Two cars I didn't think had a chance actually ran really well. Well, until the C47 turn, when Simba forgot his left from right and rolled. Skeletor's right-hand man with the early victory. Numbskull and Wolfie start up front for lap 2. Beastman pushes the golden bat car thing down the track and Numbskull leads. Numbskull spins and slides, but he continues to hold off Beastman. Wolfie flies in and smashes Numbskull back out front, passing Beastman at the same time. They finish Numbskull, Wolfie, and Beast. Simba has stopped at the convenience store for snacks, or a nap, or both. Numbskull really struggled to stay in front of Beastman. I'd say he really owes Wolfie for that badass move. And in a group full of animals, it's the sign of the beast, and then there's Simba. Hopefully he can get back in this fight. Speaking of animals, make sure you get over to Rust Belt Diecast and check out the upcoming Frozen 4-banger this winter. Beastman leads Simba as the group gets fairly spread out. Beastman spins. Here comes Numbskull. Wolfie's catching up. Beastman spins and Simba takes lap 3. We'll have to go back to replay to see how this all wound up. This should have been Beastman's lap to lose, but he really struggled on the lower half, ultimately spinning on the final straight, allowing first Simba, then Numbskull to make last-minute passes. Numbskull takes a 1-point lead over Beastman as we head to what could be an epic lap 4. Simba assumes the pole. He needs nothing but a win here. Beastman noses out front, and I just noticed his whip hits every single sign truss. Beastman gaps the field, and Numbskull is wrecked. Simba fights off Wolfie while Beastman runs away with the final lap. Simba is second, Wolfie is third. Beastman wins the group, and Wolfie Wolfgang ties it up with Numbskull despite a lackluster second half. We head back for a duck-off. With his one-lap victory, Numbskull takes the inside lane first. Numbskull quickly pulls away, and Lord, this might be over quick. Wolfie wrecks, and Numbskull just has to coast to the finish line to take the first lap. Lanes have been swapped to go again. Wolfie able to take the lead this time. He nearly goes off track and Numbskull dives inside. They battle head to head and Wolfie jumps ahead, spinning across the line to tie it up. One more time, this is now sudden death. Numbskull somewhat predictably pulls ahead just like on lap 1. They both seem to be driving somewhat conservatively, and Numbskull takes the duck off. Despite his DNF, Numbskull follows Beastman into round 2. It looks like lower scores today, but I think that's just because the competition was somewhat more even. Maybe. For the third consecutive video, no new wildcards. Congratulations to Beastman, MF, Bay City Daryl, and Numbskull. This has been Jim D for Indiana Diecast Racing. Be sure to check in next time for more slightly above mediocre diecast racing and the continuing round 1 action of the Final Fantasy Fracas.